You can listen to The Professional Left wherever you get your podcasts, on Netroots Radio, or at our website, proleftpod.com, where you can also contribute to this podcast. There's a PayPal button at our website, or you can mail us a letter and or contribution at P.O. Box 9133, Springfield, Illinois, 62791.
This is the podcast for October 1st, 2024. It's not safe for work.
Recorded live from the Cornfield Resistance, where vacant rooms are still available for all who are going to need to sleep off the red hour. It's The Professional Left with Driftglass and Blue Gal. Hello, Blue Gal.
Hello, Driftglass. So, those of you who are not familiar with the red hour, well, here you go.
This, festival, it starts at 6 o'clock?
Tula, these folks come for the festival. Your daddy can put them up, can't he?
You're from the valley?
We've, just arrived.
My father'll be glad to put you up, though. It's right over there.
Let's get out of here!
That was from the Star Trek, the original series episode, The Return of the Archons. Original air date, February 9th, 1967. This is also the Republicans' plan to eliminate crime forever.
Forever, Blue Gal.
One day of ultra-violence to solve all our problems, like the Purge or Kristallnacht. You know, Clockwork Orange stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler stuff. Donald Trump was very, very clear about this. And so when Abby Phillips of CNN once again booked congenital liar Byron Donalds on her CNN show to lie about it, he played the part. And he lied about it. And as you'll hear, when that lie that he was telling fell apart, he quickly pivoted to lie some more about crime statistics.
So according to those gentlemen there, saying that Trump is a threat to democracy is violent rhetoric, but Trump saying, let's just have one really violent day, that is not violent rhetoric?
No, he didn't say one violent day. That's not even what he said. But let's be honest about what he actually said.
Can we play
it again.
Trump
again? Play it again, because he didn't even say that. But go ahead.
Can we play it again?
I want to hear it.
All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent. The city doesn't have it's a chain of events. It's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. End immediately. You know?
How is that not violent rhetoric?
We have to acknowledge the reality going on in every city in America.
Not answering the question.
Crime is massive.
Not answering the question.
That is answering the question. Because the reality in America, hold on, Keith, the reality in America is that crime is massively up.
Crime is not massively up. That's a lie.
You can bang the table all you want,
you're
but that's
lying,
not true.
Congressman. You're lying.
We already know that there are cities.
The FBI just released data this week that crime is going down.
We already know that.
Oh my God! Abby, why do you let this man lie on your national television like this?
A lot of people all over social media have been asking the same question that Keith Boykin asked at the end of that exchange. Why does Abby Phillips keep putting congenital liars on the air knowing they're going to lie? Great question. The answer is sort of like a tautology, but it's also true. The simple fact is she's a performer. She has been hired by the media corporation for which she works to play a role. Her role is pretty lady on CNN who platforms congenital Republican liars, so she platforms congenital Republican liars on CNN. See how that works? It's not that hard to understand. Okay, but you ask, what's up with Byron Donalds, who just lies all the time, with this big shit-eating grin on his face? Well, Donalds is also performing his role. He is a black congressman from the R plus 13, 77% white, deeply racist Florida 19th congressional district. And there is nothing that deeply racist Trump voters love more than seeing a black man wallow in Trump's shit and then get up smiling and ask for more. And that is exactly the service Donalds provides. Keith Boykin, bless his heart, plays the role of the outraged liberal, baffled and angry. Yeah, that's our job, buddy. Actually, we kind of got over that about 10 years ago when it was clear, oh, this is just it's a game. It's a puppet show. But his job is to play the baffled liberal who's baffled and angry and demanding to know why this keeps happening. Why? This is, half the liberals on social media. Why does CNN keep doing this? Why is the New York Times this way? You fucking well know it. Quit pretending that you don't. See, everybody gets something out of this exchange. It's a caricature of journalism being done to salaciously enrage or titillate CNN's rapidly shrinking audience. And it is rapidly shrinking because cable news is dying.
And as you all know by now, CBS News is shooting for the same effect. We are recording this podcast about 2.5 hours before the vice presidential debate begins.
So I'm just a little bit drunk right now. I'm pre-gaming like mad.
He said, we got to hurry up and podcast because I got to go to the liquor store before the debate.
Exactly.
But look, for this debate thing, CBS News is shooting for the same effect. That is no surprise, since virtually all legacy media companies are engaged in this same farce. CBS has decided that there should be no referees at the debate night football game, or that the police shouldn't take sides in a dispute between arsonists and firefighters, because both sides. And they did this 1,000% to accommodate Donald Trump, who is rumored to have thrown a tantrum and made no fact-checking a condition of any future debates. And the purpose of the debate for CBS is ratings.
Ratings and money. That's it.
There are 2 4-minute commercial breaks during this debate. The money for that is money. Mm-hmm. That's why they call it money. Now, Paul Krugman explains why Trump throws his tantrum. Quote, "We've all become desensitized, but it's amazing how at this point the Trump campaign rests entirely on denouncing things that aren't happening. An imaginary bad economy, imaginary runaway crime, and now an imaginary failure of Biden and Harris to respond to natural disaster." Unquote. Drip Class, I'm going to ask you something.
Sure.
I know you and I are not psychologists.
No, but we play one on a podcast or two.
We could do a whole 3-hour podcast on Trump voters.
Right.
And what's going on with them.
Right.
But I have noticed recently some reporters in those man on the street interviews actually trying to compare what the Trump voter is saying about the economy, crime, immigration, etc., to their actual status, whether it's economic status or how is this affecting you personally? And the answer is it's not, or how dare you ask that question?
Right.
I just know that the border is the most important thing. You live in Ohio. How is it affecting you? It's not, but it's the principle of the thing.
Right.
But this is, to me, very interesting because we do all exist in the actual world where we go to the grocery store or the liquor store and we go get gas and we go take our kids to school or whatever. And then there is a mental world where we're just angry at Trump all the time, or we're trying to manage our stress.
Right.
And that mental world for Trump supporters is a completely different reality.
It is.
From the one where you go to the store and buy groceries and eggs are under $3 a dozen.
Yes.
I mean,
I think it has a lot to do with the death of local news.
Yeah.
And the fact that all Republican politics is now nationalized.
Right.
All issues are nationalized.
Right.
The major news source for Republican stupid ideas is a national television network, a national radio network, and they repeat the same talking points over and over again.
Local news is owned by Sinclair, and so you're getting weather, but that's about it in terms of actual
and sport. Don't forget sport.
The sport, local sport,
local sports and weather. A couple of obituaries, a human interest story, and the border, the border, and they keep hearing about it over and over again. They're soft-headed, simple-minded creatures, and they've been told this is the most important issue, and the reason it's most important is because the dear leader says so.
Yeah,
and it's not a lot more complicated than that. They have thrown in their lot. There is no turning back for them. There is no way back from the shithole they've made of their lives and the horrible place that they have placed themselves. They can't undo it. They can't say they're wrong. They can't back away from it. So,
well, and you saw this when Fox said Trump lost in Arizona.
Right.
And they all switched to Newsmax.
Right. No, we didn't. I want a different outcome, so I'm going to a different channel.
Yeah.
And you saw this when Karl Rove took over the election, the Mitt Romney election, and kept declaring that he won. He didn't win. Everyone knew he didn't win. Everyone knew that those numbers were wrong. But the viewers, we're going to lose viewers if we tell them. We're going to end up with egg on our face if we end up telling them the truth. So let's just keep lying to them until they pass out or fall asleep or whatever. And then we'll get on with the rigged election lie. That'll be the bridge lie between.
And that was the mistake they made with Romney, is they didn't do a rigged election lie.
Right.
They promised a landslide for a week.
Yeah.
And then he lost. And they lost viewership because the viewership finally thought, oh, wait a minute. They lied to us for a week.
Yeah. Oh, no goodness. Oh, my goodness. Not that.
Instead
they
of this
lied
was
to us.
Stolen. Of course it was stolen. It was supposed to be a landslide and it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's stolen. That's the logic that they use now, right?
Trump voters are not averse to being lied to. They live to be lied to. They live 24/7 in a whorehouse where they pay people to dress up in costume and tell them what they want to hear. That's their entire life. What they will not forgive is you not giving them a way to justify the fact that the last lie they told you just fell apart. So like Byron Donalds, you just pivot to another lie. Right. And another and another and another. And eventually you run out of time. And then Trump viewers can go, well, maybe the first two were wrong, but that last one that they didn't have time to get to. Or, of course, the ultimate fallback position for every scumbag Republican out there. If they're flush up against the wall, they can't get out of it. The lie's been caught.
Sides.
Both sides. Well, both sides are equally bad. So what does it matter who I vote for? At which point, give up on them as sentient human beings. These are not functional, sentient human adults anymore. They're fucking zombies. Quit trying to reason with fucking zombies and move on with your life. Get something else going on.
But Driftglass, I can't. I can't give up on my fellow human beings. And the reason, I noticed this on Twitter today when people were noticing that a number of pharmaceutical drugs have dropped in price for Medicare recipients.
Right.
And the MAGAs come on and say, well, mine's still $600 a month, or mine's still this and mine's still that. And the liberals come on and say, well, let me send you this coupon that I use. Let me send you this thing. There's this agency that will help you. Where do you live? Let me find out if there's this Urban League. Urban League helps me buy my drugs. Maybe they can help you. So-and-so uses the AARP card. And there's just this flood of, I don't know whether they're genuine liberal activists or whether they're just not MAGA crazies. But they respond to the MAGA crazy complaining about his drug prices with, I want to help you.
And what do they get in return?
They get cut off.
Right.
Yeah. Tell me where you live and what you have a fake name. Your name is Patriot with 7 numbers after it. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to expose any personal information. Just tell me what state you live in and the drug you need, and let me see if I can help you.
Let me guess. The bio says Christ follower, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Christ is King, Trump follower, and then
Trump 2024, Christ is King. Yeah.
And when I hear I can't give up on them, I hear I can fix him. I know I can fix him. No.
I'm telling you. I'll tell you, Driftglass. It is not that. It is not. I can fix it. It's maybe I can throw, the old line, throw one starfish back in the ocean. Maybe I can help one person get their prescriptions fixed. And if I can't, the information I put out there, somebody else picked it up and said, "Thank you for that. Thank you for that AARP card."
That's a different thing.
I didn't know about that.
We're having two different conversations, which is fine because there's 2 of us on a podcast. I'm talking about I see nothing inconsistent with you are no longer dealing with sentient adult human beings. Okay. You're dealing with robots. You're dealing with reprogrammable meatbags. And I want them treated fairly and justly. I want their medical care to be taken care of. I want them to have clean water and clean air, and their children to have a bright future. There's nothing inconsistent about that.
No, there isn't.
They would rather cut their dicks off than take help from a liberal.
Right.
But, I don't care. If part of my policy is everybody gets good health care, everybody gets affordable housing, and they get swept up in that, that's fine. And if they want to turn around and thank the Ramesh Panurus of the world, or the whoever, if they want to thank Mary Miller holding up the giant check saying, I paid for this when you fought against it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is you can give them all that you want. You can help them all you want. And at the end of the day, they will hate you for it and bite you for it.
Right.
And so
but at the same time, I'm on a public stage as Blue Gal being a helper. And I'm presenting, I would rather do that and get my fingers bit and get called an asshole on social media and still be out there trying to reach out to help and presenting that to anyone who passes by. And anyone who passes by who actually has a brain cell is not a troll or a bot says, oh, look, this lady had something that might help me.
I don't think we're that far apart on this
No,
issue.
we're not. I don't think we are.
I just think
I'm going to be this person, and I'm going to be at peace with that. That's my point.
That's fine. And I think when we're talking about helping people who are in distress, of course that's how you're going to react.
Right.
I'm talking about trying to reason with people who have announced proudly that they are not, that they have abandoned reason.
Right.
They're being lied to and they love it and they will not stop being lied to. And any attempt that you make to try to dissuade them from their lies, fuck you, liberal trash. Ha I fooled you. Ha poke, poke.
In there. I was called a racist this week. Yeah. For that. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
They're just trolls. That's all they are. And I'm firmly convinced that most of them who announce their problems on the internet it's bait to get you to try to help them. And then, sucker. And then they shit all over you. So, no, I'm not going to drive past someone on the side of the road who's in distress. I'm not going to give up on giving to homeless shelters. I gave up years ago trying to reason with these people and trying to extend a helping hand to them because what they do is they chop it off and laugh about it. Mm-hmm. And the shit they're making of their lives is their own making. They're doing this to themselves. No one's putting a fucking gun to their head and making them make these terrible decisions. They're doing it to themselves.
But then let me just put one more frosting on this cookie.
Sure.
And that is getting letters from people who are blue dots in red states, who are surrounded by you and I have each other. I mean, we have each other. We have a street where there's one Trump sign and the rest are Democrats. Right?
Three Trump signs.
Three now? Oh my God.
Well, you turn the corner, there's another one.
Oh God. All right. So it's a mix. But we have a lot of Democrat signs on our street too.
On our
We're
little
not
island
alone.
here.
Let me put it that way. We're not alone.
But
and the
I
people
think
who are alone, who are feeling, who send us a check that says mental health on the subject line.
Yeah.
And in some respects, I think we're already helping those folks. I hope we are. I hope they feel like we are there for them and we totally I lived in Alabama for 14 years.
I know.
All three of my children were born in Alabama. So I have absolutely been a blue dot in a red state. I wonder how to further help people who, you say cut those folks off, but at the same time, I was in tears this afternoon because I'm just so tired. I'm so tired that this race is so close.
I understand.
I'm so tired that I don't understand how my fellow Americans can reach out for hurricane assistance from the most competent president in terms of utilizing the force and power of the federal government to help people since FDR.
Yeah. Yep.
Can believe this orange asshole when he's planting seeds about, well, Republicans aren't going to get any help. MAGA.
Right.
And that just breaks my heart about my country.
I think there's a bit of cognitive dissonance because I think, and I'm not sure, let's attribute this to my bad influence. I think you kind of do understand what these people's brains are like, how their brains work. And the tragedy is that you can't help them. There's nothing you can do to stop them from destroying their lives. And the best we can do is to stop them from destroying the country because that's what they want to do.
But I'm worried. Well, I'm worried. Yeah. We're all worried.
Yeah.
We're all worried that we can't stop them. But the fact is we can. Yeah. Hillary Clinton has taught us that you don't let fear in.
Right.
And during this debate tonight, just like the last debate, I'm going to have my back to it. I'm going to have it on. I'm going to have my back to it. And I'm going to be doing postcards to voters.
Right.
While it's going, I'll have it on in my ear. I'll be listening. And maybe if it gets really funny or great, I'll turn around. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on what can I do to bring this over the finish line for Kamala Harris.
Well, and I think bringing people who are blue dots in red states into it is not what we're talking about. Because clearly we're not pronouncing.
Although now we're hearing rumblings about a silent majority of people who are sick of Trump.
What I mean is, when we're talking about Republican voters who are immune to reason and are happy with the shit that they take all day long and mock people for trying to correct them or help them, we're not talking about blue dots in a red state.
No, we're not.
Those are our friends, and we feel very sad that you are stuck there, and we would very much like to help you in any way we can, including getting the boot of the Republican Party off the neck of this country.
Right.
And that's about all we can do.
Right.
And provide a little solace to you. And you're not alone. We do live in Trump country right here in Illinois. We live in central Illinois. And as lovely as our street can be, I can take you a mile from here and find you 100 Trump signs.
No, it's horrible. A mile from here is horrible. Yeah.
And speaking of bad news organizations and the debate, this is from Brian Beutler. Quote, CBS's decision not to fact check is mostly significant as an indication of how powerful institutions will bend to Trump should he win the presidency. Many are bending already when he has no official power and is behind in the polls, unquote. And then they got some pushback from sentient adult human beings. And so, this is via Jay Rosen, quote, I'm told CBS News is leaving open the possibility that the moderators may step in and offer fact checks of their own, unquote. So much easier for spineless executives to lay it all off on the moderators, which led to the stupidest thing Brian Stelter wrote this week. Quote, CBS News executives are signaling. Signaling? I wonder how that works exactly. Is it lights flashing? Is it smoke? I don't know. That Norah O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan, you're making me laugh, Blue Gal, will not fact-check flagrantly false claims, which is a very hard sentence to say, flagrantly false fact-checking claims made on stage. The moderators will give the candidates, quote, the opportunity to fact-check each other in real time. Do they have a little card? Are they allowed 3 apiece? I don't know. CBS SVP Claudia Milne told the New York Times. This is Brian Beutler in parentheses, repeating what I wrote last month. Moderators are damned if they do, if they fact-check, and damned if they don't, unquote.
Drift Class, this is why you and I are not CBS News correspondents.
No, because I could never be that drunk, Blue Gal. I couldn't do it.
The way I would fact check is I would be, J.D. Vance would say something, I go, well, that's a fucking lie. Hey,
wow.
Tim, would you like to respond?
That's, with 10 big fucking lies like that, you get a free hoagie at Primentis. So, no, I'm sorry, you can't go there.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. You can't go there. This is exactly the phenomenon that Margaret Sullivan was talking about when she wrote about, quote, the 3 phases of normalizing Trump's attack on Harris in Wisconsin, unquote. I'm just going to talk about one of them, and that is the use of neutral language.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, if you merely read about Donald Trump's deeply offensive rally this weekend in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, you probably thought it was about immigration, right? And about Trump up to his usual tricks of disparaging his rivals. Here's the lead of the report from Axios, for example. Quote, former President Trump, in a self-described dark speech, told a rally in Wisconsin yesterday that his opponent, Vice President Harris, is, quote, mentally impaired and, quote, mentally disabled. That's the end of the Axios quote. Axios, which favors bullet points and boldface help for the tuned out, let us know why it matters. Quote, even for Trump, it was weird, nasty, and nonsensical when he needed to be swaying national security moms and other undecideds. Gosh darn it, Donald Trump, you're supposed to be talking to national security moms. Or here's the top paragraph of the Washington Post. This is still Margaret Sullivan. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump criticized Vice President Harris's mental capacity Saturday, falsely claiming she was born mentally impaired and comparing her actions to that of a mentally disabled person. The remarks prompted criticism from advocates of people with disabilities. So there you go. Now here's the Associated Press's headline. Quote, Trump lists his grievances in Wisconsin speech intended to link Harris to illegal immigration. Ron Fournier doesn't work there anymore, but his ghost, the big sweaty fat ass of his ghost, is just pressing down on their heads all the time.
They're killing themselves. I think Steve, our listener Steve, is right. It's death by suicide. It is.
Let me finish off the Margaret quote. Quote, but if you watched the speech or even snippets of it, you saw something quite different. an absolutely ugly and brutal attack on Kamala Harris full of lies and racist misogyny, unquote. So when Stelter writes, moderators are damned if they fact check and damned if they don't, he's using exactly this kind of neutral language, as if the objections from both sides are somehow equal and legitimate, when they're manifestly not. Once upon a time in my very own dim and distant past, as I've mentioned before in this podcast, debates were about facts and logic and presentation. And the worst, most disqualifying thing a team could ever do was lie, to make up evidence or make assertions as fact with no support. That lost you the debate automatically. It got one team I know suspended for a year. One kid lost his scholarship over this shit. That's the most serious thing you can do. And now, I don't know what the fuck's going on TV, but they're not debates anymore.
Right. And when media companies arrange things so that they do not need to defend the importance of the truth, they're not news organizations. When they take sides against a fire hose of lies because it might offend the liar, it stops being a debate, like you said, and they stop being journalists. That's not what this is. It's a TV show for ratings. It might as well be The Masked Singer. As you all already know, the venality and complicity of the legacy media has been going on for decades and is now a fatal epidemic. This is from Mark Jacob, the former Chicago newspaper editor. Quote, when Trump says immigrants are animals who will invade your kitchen and slit your throat, Bloomberg sane washes him by saying he sharpened his criticism.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
We're coming up on hard editing time so that we can get to the debate. And we're having major technical difficulties with our Zencastr platform,
our provider,
where we record.
Our provider did something.
We're gonna abort at this point. Not abandoning you, but we're gonna abort this show and get back to you on Thursday. And hopefully by that time, Zencastr will have rebooted their servers and we'll be back on. Let me ask you, Driftglass.
Yeah.
How are the Internet Kitties doing this week?
Well, the Internet Kitties are having no problem uploading their purring and their kittenness, so I think this is probably a human thing and not an Internet Kitty thing.
Let's think about living. Think about living. Let's think about loving. Think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the popping and the lovey-dovey. Let's forget about the wine and the crying, the shooting and the dying, and the fellow with a switchblade knife. Let's think about living. Let's think about life.
Professional F podcast is recorded under a Creative Commons license. Copyright 2024-25, GGBG Productions.